Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of our podcast. Today, we're tackling something that a lot of people struggle with: talking to others when you're shy. If you've ever felt that nervousness or that hesitation, this episode is for you.
Exactly, Adam. Shyness can make social situations feel challenging, but we've all been there. And today we'll share some simple practical tips to help you feel more comfortable and confident when speaking to others.
So whether you're looking to make new friends, feel more relaxed at gatherings, or just speak up a little more, stick with us. By the end, you'll have some powerful tools to make conversations feel a little easier.
So let's start by admitting it. Talking to people can be tough when you're shy. I think a lot of us know what it's like to feel that nervousness. Maybe your heart starts racing, or you worry about what to say.
So, let's start by admitting it. Talking to people can be tough when you're shy. I think a lot of us know what it's like to feel that nervousness. Maybe your heart starts racing, or you worry about what to say.
Yes, absolutely. I remember times when I would avoid speaking up or even joining a conversation because I was so focused on not making mistakes or looking awkward.
Exactly. It's like you want to connect with people, but at the same time, there's this voice in your head saying, "What if I mess up?" Or, "What if they think I'm weird?"
And the worst part is it can feel like everyone else is so confident and outgoing, which makes us feel even more self-conscious. But the truth is, shyness is more common than we think. Many people feel this way.
Right. So if you're listening and you feel that way too, just know you're not alone. And with a few small steps, shyness doesn't have to hold you back.
Tip 1. Start small and smile. All right, let's jump into our first tip. Start small and smile. When you're feeling shy, it can be overwhelming to think about having a long conversation right away. That's why it's important to begin with small gestures. One of the easiest ways to connect with someone is by making eye contact and offering a warm smile.
Exactly. A smile is a universal sign of friendliness. It communicates openness and approachability without the need for words. And believe it or not, smiling can actually help ease your own nerves. When you smile, your brain releases chemicals that can make you feel happier and more relaxed.
That's so true. And when you smile, you're inviting others to engage with you. Sometimes, just a simple smile can encourage someone to strike up a conversation. It takes the pressure off you because you're not immediately jumping into a deep discussion.
Right. Think of it this way. If you're in a group or at an event, just making eye contact with someone and smiling can be your way of saying, "Hey, I'm friendly. Feel free to talk to me." You don't need to have the perfect opening line or topic ready. Starting with a smile is a great way to break the ice.
And here's a little challenge for our listeners. The next time you're in a social setting, try to make it a point to smile at a few people around you. You'll be surprised at how many smiles you'll get back. This small interaction can lead to a more meaningful conversation without feeling too daunting.
Absolutely. Also, remember that it's okay to start with brief interactions. You might just say hello or compliment someone on something small like their outfit or the book they're reading. These little exchanges can build your confidence over time.
Yes, starting small helps you ease into social situations and gradually builds your comfort level. The more you practice, the more natural it will become to engage in conversations without feeling overwhelmed.
So, keep in mind, starting with small gestures like smiling and making eye contact can make a huge difference. It sets a positive tone and opens the door for communication, making it easier for you to connect with others.
And remember, every little step counts. Embrace those small moments, and you'll find that talking to others becomes easier and more enjoyable over time.
Tip 2. Find common ground. Moving on to our second tip. Find common ground. One of the best ways to ease into a conversation is to look for shared interests or experiences. This can create an instant connection and make talking to someone feel less intimidating.
Absolutely. When you find something in common with someone, it gives you a foundation to build the conversation on. For instance, if you're at a party, you could comment on the music playing. Something like, "I love this song. Do you listen to this artist often?"
Exactly. That question not only opens up the floor for them to share their thoughts, but it also shows that you're engaging with what's happening around you. It's a great way to shift the focus away from your own nerves.
Another way to find common ground is to look for shared experiences in the environment. If you're in a class or at a workshop, for instance, you might say, "What do you think about this session? I found it really interesting." This not only helps you relate to each other, but also keeps the conversation flowing.
That's a great point. And don't forget that common ground doesn't always have to be deep. It could be something as simple as sharing a favorite snack or a hobby. For example, if you notice someone wearing a t-shirt of a band you like, you could say, "Hey, I love that band. Have you seen them live?"
Yes, those light casual topics are perfect for easing into more meaningful conversations later on. Plus, people love to talk about their interests, so it helps them open up more.
And here's a fun tip. If you're really unsure, try using the environment around you as a conversation starter. For example, if you're at a cafe, you could ask, "What's your go-to drink here?" It's simple, but it gives you both something to discuss.
That's a smart approach. And remember, the goal isn't to force a connection. It's about being genuine and curious about the other person's thoughts and experiences. When you approach a conversation with a mindset of discovery, it can take the pressure off.
Absolutely. So, as you step into social situations, keep your eyes open for commonalities, whether they're big or small. Finding shared interests can not only make conversations easier, but also more enjoyable.
And who knows? You might just make a new friend along the way. So let's embrace the power of common ground and see where it takes us. Tip 3. Use open-ended questions. Now let's move on to our third tip. Use open-ended questions. This is a fantastic way to keep the conversation flowing and to learn more about the other person.
Exactly. Open-ended questions are questions that cannot be answered with just a simple yes or no. They encourage more in-depth responses and give the other person the opportunity to share their thoughts and feelings.
Right. For example, instead of asking, "Did you enjoy the movie?" you could ask, "What did you think of the movie?" This invites them to share their opinions, which can lead to a more engaging conversation.
That's a great example. Open-ended questions help you dive deeper into topics. It shows that you're interested in what the other person has to say, which can make them feel valued and more comfortable sharing.
And it also gives you the chance to follow up on what they say. If they mention something interesting, you can ask them more about it. For instance, if they say, "I loved the soundtrack," you could follow up with, "What was your favorite song from it?"
Exactly. This creates a natural flow in the conversation. Plus, using open-ended questions takes the pressure off you to constantly come up with things to say. It allows the other person to lead the discussion at times.
Absolutely. And here's another tip. When you ask open-ended questions, try to relate them to the situation you're in. If you're at a networking event, you could ask, "What inspired you to join this field?" This not only gives them a chance to share their story, but can also lead to insights you might find helpful.
That's a fantastic approach. And don't hesitate to share your own thoughts or experiences in response to their answers. This creates a back-and-forth dynamic, making it feel more like a conversation rather than an interview.
Exactly. So the next time you find yourself in a conversation, remember to ask open-ended questions. They can open doors to richer discussions and help you connect on a deeper level.
And remember, the goal is to create a comfortable space for dialogue. The more you practice this, the easier it will become to engage in conversations, even when you're feeling shy.
Absolutely. So let's put this tip into practice and see how it transforms our conversations.
Tip 4. Focus on listening. Now let's discuss our fourth tip. Focus on listening. One of the most valuable skills you can develop in any conversation, especially when you're feeling shy, is active listening.
Absolutely. Many people think that the key to a good conversation is talking a lot, but it's actually about being a great listener. When you listen attentively, it shows the other person that you value what they're saying.
Absolutely. Many people think that the key to a good conversation is talking a lot, but it's actually about being a great listener. When you listen attentively, it shows the other person that you value what they're saying. Exactly. Active listening means fully concentrating on the speaker, understanding their message, responding thoughtfully, and remembering key points. This helps build a connection and makes the other person feel appreciated.
Right. It's easy to get caught up in your own thoughts, especially if you're nervous about what to say next. But if you focus on listening, you'll find that the conversation flows more naturally. You'll also be able to respond in a more meaningful way.
And here's a helpful tip. Practice reflective listening. This means paraphrasing or summarizing what the other person has said. For example, if they share a story about their recent vacation, you could say, "It sounds like you had an amazing time exploring new places." This not only shows you were listening, but also encourages them to share more.
That's a great technique. Reflective listening can keep the conversation going and also makes the other person feel heard. Plus, it takes some of the pressure off you to come up with something new to say immediately.
Exactly. And don't forget to use nonverbal cues to show you're engaged. Nodding, maintaining eye contact, and using affirmative sounds like uh-huh or I see can encourage the speaker and let them know you're interested.
Yes, those small gestures can really make a difference in how the other person perceives your attentiveness. It helps create a warm and inviting atmosphere for conversation.
And remember, it's okay to take a moment to think before responding. It shows that you're considering their words rather than just filling the silence with your own thoughts.
Absolutely. So, when you find yourself in a conversation, make it a point to focus on listening. Not only will it enhance your conversations, but it will also help you feel more confident as you engage with others.
Yes. By honing your listening skills, you can become a more compelling conversationalist, even if you're a bit shy. So let's embrace the art of listening and see how it transforms our interactions.
Tip 5. Practice in low-stakes settings. Now, let's wrap up with our 5th tip. Practice in low-stakes settings. One of the best ways to build your confidence in talking to people is to start in situations where the pressure is low.
Absolutely. Low-stakes settings are places where the outcome of the conversation doesn't feel as critical. This could be chatting with a cashier, engaging with a neighbor, or even striking up a conversation with someone in a waiting room.
Right. These casual interactions provide a perfect opportunity to practice your conversational skills without the fear of judgment. Since the stakes are low, you can experiment with different approaches and see what works best for you.
Exactly. For instance, if you're at a cafe, you might ask the barista for their recommendation or chat about the daily special. These simple exchanges can help you become more comfortable initiating conversations.
And since these interactions are often brief, even if they don't go as planned, you're not left feeling overly embarrassed or anxious. You can simply move on and try again with someone else.
That's a great point. Plus, these small conversations can help desensitize you to the feeling of shyness. The more you practice in these environments, the more natural talking to others will become.
Absolutely. It's also a great way to build your confidence gradually. Over time, you might find yourself feeling more comfortable initiating conversations in slightly higher stakes situations, like networking events or social gatherings. And don't forget to reflect on your experiences. After a conversation, think about what went well and what you might want to improve next time. This can help you grow and become more adept at engaging with others.
Yes! So if you're feeling shy or anxious about starting conversations, remember to take advantage of those low-stakes settings. They provide a safe space to practice and build your confidence.
Exactly. Embrace these opportunities as stepping stones to becoming more comfortable and effective in your interactions. You'll be surprised at how quickly you can improve. So let's take this advice to heart and start practicing in those everyday situations. Each small step brings us closer to overcoming shyness.
Overcoming the fear of silence. Next, let's talk about overcoming the fear of silence in conversations. Many people feel anxious when there's a pause in the dialogue, but silence can actually be a valuable part of communication.
Absolutely. The fear of silence often leads to people filling the gaps with unnecessary chatter or feeling pressured to say something, anything, just to avoid the awkwardness. But pauses can give both you and the other person a moment to reflect. Exactly. Embracing silence allows for deeper thinking. It gives each person a chance to formulate their thoughts. Instead of rushing to fill the silence, take a deep breath and give yourself permission to pause. That's a great point. A brief pause can also convey thoughtfulness and consideration. It shows that you're engaged and carefully considering your response rather than just reacting.
Yes, another strategy is to reframe how you view silence. Instead of seeing it as something negative, think of it as a natural part of conversation. Every great dialogue has its moments of pause. It doesn't mean the conversation is failing. It means you're both processing what's been said.
Absolutely. And if the silence feels too long, you can always use it as an opportunity to ask an open-ended question or share a related thought. For example, you might say, "I've been thinking about what you said regarding your trip. It sounds fascinating. What was your favorite part?"
That's a perfect way to bridge the silence. It shows that you are actively listening and encourages the other person to continue sharing. And if you're ever unsure about what to say, reflecting on their last point can help reignite the conversation.
Exactly. Plus, it's important to remember that everyone experiences silence in conversations. You're not alone in feeling a little awkward when things quiet down. Recognizing this can alleviate some of the pressure you might feel.
And lastly, practice makes perfect. The more you engage in conversations, the more comfortable you'll become with pauses. Eventually, they'll feel less intimidating and more like a natural part of your interactions.
So, let's challenge ourselves to embrace silence when it happens, recognizing it as an opportunity rather than a barrier. It can lead to more thoughtful conversations and deeper connections.
Exactly. By overcoming the fear of silence, we can create more meaningful interactions. So let's take a deep breath, welcome those pauses, and see where the conversation takes us.
Now, let's dive into the topic of building confidence gradually. This is crucial for anyone who feels shy or anxious about talking to others.
Absolutely. Confidence doesn't just appear overnight. It's something you develop over time through practice and experience. The key is to start small and set achievable goals.
Right. One way to begin is by setting a goal to initiate one small conversation each day. It could be as simple as saying hello to a neighbor or asking someone about their day at work. These small interactions can be a great starting point.
Exactly. As you become more comfortable with these brief exchanges, you can gradually increase the complexity of your conversations. Maybe aim to ask follow-up questions or share a little about yourself. This incremental approach helps you build confidence without overwhelming yourself.
And remember to celebrate your progress no matter how small. Each time you step out of your comfort zone, recognize that as a victory. Keeping track of these small wins can motivate you to continue pushing your boundaries.
Great point. Another effective strategy is to practice with people you feel comfortable with, like friends or family. This safe environment allows you to experiment with conversation skills without the pressure of judgment.
Absolutely. And don't hesitate to role-play different scenarios with them. You can practice initiating conversations, handling pauses, or asking open-ended questions. This not only helps you prepare for real-life interactions, but also builds your confidence.
And as you gain confidence, consider gradually exposing yourself to more challenging situations. For example, you might try talking to someone new at a social event or joining a group where you can meet people with similar interests.
Yes. The more you put yourself in these situations, the more comfortable you'll become over time. It's all about pushing your comfort zone a little further each time.
And remember, it's okay to feel nervous. Everyone experiences some level of anxiety in social situations. Acknowledging this can help you manage your expectations and reduce pressure on yourself.
Definitely. Building confidence is a journey, and it's important to be patient with yourself. Focus on your progress, learn from each experience, and keep practicing.
So let's commit to gradually building our confidence in conversations. With each step we take, we're one step closer to becoming more comfortable and engaged communicators.
Absolutely. Embrace the journey, celebrate your successes, and remember that confidence is built through practice and perseverance.
Final encouragement and recap. As we wrap up our discussion today, let's take a moment to recap the key tips we've covered for overcoming shyness in conversations.
Absolutely. First, we talked about acknowledging the struggle of shyness. It's important to recognize that many people experience this feeling and you're not alone in it.
Next, we discuss the importance of starting small and smiling. Simple gestures can open the door to conversations and make both you and the other person feel more at ease. Then we explored finding common ground. Identifying shared interests can help create a natural connection and make it easier to engage in conversation. After that, we emphasized using open-ended questions. This encourages deeper dialogue and allows the other person to share more about themselves, keeping the conversation flowing.
And we talked about focusing on listening. Active listening shows that you value the other person's input, which can strengthen your connection and reduce the pressure to always be talking.
Lastly, we highlighted the importance of practicing in low-stakes settings. These casual interactions help you build confidence without the fear of significant consequences.
That's right. And we also discussed overcoming the fear of silence. Recognizing that pauses can be a natural part of conversations allows for deeper thinking and reflection.
And let's not forget about building confidence gradually. Taking small steps, celebrating your progress, and practicing with supportive people can help you grow more comfortable in social situations.
Exactly. Remember, it's a journey, and it's okay to take your time. Confidence is built through practice and perseverance.
So, as you go about your daily interactions, keep these tips in mind. Embrace the small victories, be patient with yourself, and remember that every step you take brings you closer to becoming a more confident communicator.
We believe in you. It's normal to feel shy at times, but with the right mindset and techniques, you can overcome those barriers and connect more freely with others.
Thank you for joining us today. We hope you found these tips helpful and that you're inspired to take action. Remember, each conversation is an opportunity for growth.
Absolutely. Until next time, keep practicing and embracing those moments of connection. You've got this.